The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick 'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, MLB, MMA, NHL, golf, and more. Sign up today at UnderdogFantasy.com using promo code NBA SGPN. That's promo code NBA SGPN to get a 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by NYRA Bets. Sign up today, get a $25 free bet and a $200 bonus deposit with deposit bonus with promo code SGPN25. Just go to nyrabets.com/SGPN25 for a free $25 bet and a $200 deposit bonus. Yes, sir. We're back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no voice, no guy. It's me, really real, villain real. Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. Whoa. There we go. I will no longer be responding. I will no longer be responding to anybody, anyone that is not subscribed to my podcast. I ask that you all respect my decision, me and my decision here. If you are not subscribed, don't even waste time. Just subscribe and then ask your question or then have your thing. I trust that the people that are here now that joined as soon as we started are subscribed because they got the notification that they're subscribed. But if you are not subscribed, I'm putting the disclaimer out now. Don't ask no questions. Matter of fact, just don't even be in the stream. Just subscribe first. So as soon as you get here, subscribe. Huh. Man, I don't know. I like Pat Bev. He be funny. His stuff be funny. I don't care. Everybody say his stuff be funny. It's always the NBA always has like these storylines, and these storylines are all ridiculously funny. Like this was really, really a funny season in the NBA. Scott Studio Reichel, people. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, doing pretty well. We had a crazy game yesterday and one other game that wasn't that close. Unfortunately, I had a decent amount of action on the game that was not close, and Milwaukee screwed me. So, not the greatest day for my betting. I tried to pull a villain move. I tried to take the Bucks in a buy low spot, and unfortunately, that did not work out because Indiana
You missed it,
came out.
man. It was last game.
Well, we also had him last game, to be fair. I tried to run it back for game 6. It didn't work out. But either way, point is the Bucks didn't shoot well. Dame ended up playing, and the Bucks defensively were underwhelming. Offensively, they only scored 98, so that did not work out. Embiid did get there for the rebounds, so that was definitely at least something for me to be happy about. But yeah, I've been praising Josh Hart for about 2-3 years on the show. I've been calling him my favorite role player in the league. I think he's a winning basketball player, and he hits a series clinching or a game-winning series shot with that three-pointer in the final 20 seconds and change. That was a very good game for me because I live bet the Sixers. I kind of doubled down on the Sixers live when they were down a lot early. That ended up getting there.
Boo! Boo!
No, hear
Boo,
me out.
Tomatoes. No, I don't want to hear it out.
Though.
You hedged. What
do you mean
tomatoes.
hedge?
Did you hedge?
I had the Sixers
for the
plus.
series.
I had the Sixers plus 5.5. I middled. I won.
Oh, okay.
I had the Knicks to win the series from pre-series, and I had the Sixers live at 5.5. So I actually won both in that situation.
All right, way to green up on that situation. I thought
yeah,
I was
gonna
have to. I thought I was gonna have to verbally abuse you on the pod.
Oh
for
no,
hedging.
not at all. But the point is, Nick Nurse summed it up. He said nothing matters in this series because no matter what happens, it's always going to come down to the wire. And he was right again because the games have been crazy. I believe the Knicks officially won the series by 1 point. That was the point differential in the 6 games. 1 point. So
650 to 649.
Phenomenal series. A lot of the games were competitive. We could get into that a little bit deeper in a second, but props to the Knicks. Brunson once again carried the team. Walked into their arena and dropped 41 and, 12? 41 and 11? Forgot. But he had a 40-point double-double. He was great. Hart was very good. Anunoby was very good. Shout out to Dante. DiVincenzo had a good shooting game. We were kind of waiting for that. Didn't really do much since the game winner in game 2. But he was very solid as well. I thought Robinson and Hardenstein were tremendous defensively. I know Embiid had a bunch of points, but I thought they did a good job defensively too. And I want to give a shout out to one guy on the losing team. I want to give a shout out to Buddy Hield, who was basically a non-factor for the entire series. He was kind of scratched, basically, for most of the series. And he stayed ready. He had 20 points in a Game 6. So props to Buddy Hield for actually having a good showing after most people forgot he was on the roster. He played well. Also want to give a shout out to the guy going out with a phenomenal performance in his final game with the Sixers, Tobias Harris, who proceeded to score 0 points in the final game of his $180 million contract. So congrats to Tobias Harris for finishing out one of the most disappointing contracts in NBA history, and congrats to Buddy Hield for having a very solid game. But Josh Hart hit the big shot. Shout out to Mike and Ikes. You saw Jalen Brunson have the monster game, and the Knicks came through. So now you can look back at the choke job in Game 5 as a funny footnote that did not matter in the grand scheme of things. So
we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. If that comes back to bite the Knicks ever, I will come back to that Game 5.
And how would it come back to bite them? Because they won the series.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if we go back and we start and we get into a situation where we see the Knicks start blowing games, blowing leads, and, like, you know, controlling the game and end up losing or something like that, like, yeah, they got it done against Philly. But if it doesn't, not saying it's not saying it is, but if it doesn't, we can go back to this series and say, there was something there about them getting out early and not finishing strong, and then just being able to survive the end of the game. Because a lot of these games were
also
survival.
yesterday, because they were up 22 and they
were up 22 and they ended up losing the first half. Like, yeah. So it's back there. It's back there in the back of my mind. I'm not acting on it. I'm not saying anybody act on it, but just keep it in the back of your mind in case we see it again in another series.
Yes, as far as I'm concerned, Game 2 and Game 5 cancel each other out. But I do understand your point.
I mean, I understand they won that game last night, but being up 22, it should never got to that point.
Yeah.
It should never got to that point. All right. But nonetheless, I know what I need to do to keep the Knicks going, and so I'm going to continue to do it. Before we move on real quick, I just have to say that, he's right. Scott Foster is on an all-time terrible run, and the NBA is probably about to fire him after this season. Why? If Scott Foster gets fired this season, I would not be surprised.
I mean,
what
the
did we
whole
hire
purpose
you for?
of using
What did we hire you for?
Yeah,
what did we hire you for? We wanted this to go 7. What did we hire you for? And you see, it was anybody doubting that he was going to count that goaltend at the end of the game. He was 100% going to count that goaltend. It was always, but even with that, with everything, Scott Foster still has not get it done. The extender has not been extending series. He has not been extending series. He's going to get fired.
I do want an update from you, though. I just want to know quickly, how do you feel now that your team has officially gotten past the first round? How you feeling?
I don't feel anything. Job not done.
Okay.
Job not done. There's nothing to feel.
Job's not finished. Job finished?
They got past the first round last year, saw what happened. So I feel nothing. I feel nothing. Emptiness is what I feel. All right. Playoffs. Right here, and we are tapping in. You know, we got some playoff action in the NBA. They also have some playoff action going on at the Hockey Gambling Podcast. Make sure you check out their pod as well. And it's Derby week, and we have a whole bunch of Derby promotions going on. Got to talk to you about it. But right now, you can go to Sports Gambling Podcast and check out their Derby picks. And I gotta go. I'm going to go listen to that one as soon as we get off. I haven't gotten to listen to that one yet. But those Derby picks, I mean, last year was a good year for the Derby, and they were able to hit some stuff. I'm trying to hit a superfecta and just retire off into the sunset. So maybe, you know, if I get enough people that subscribe to my pod, maybe I'll drop my superfecta that's going to retire me. Maybe, just maybe. Only if you're subscribed to the pod. All right. Here we go. Make sure you tap in the Sports Gambling Podcast, Hockey Gambling Podcast, and of course, us, the NBA Gambling Podcast as well. First game up on the docket, we have the Orlando Magic laying 4. Open up at 4, they're laying 4. 200.5 is the total injury report here for these two teams. In game 6. In game 6 of this series, Cleveland is up 3-2. This is an elimination game for the Orlando Magic. And for the injury report for these two teams, Scott, we had this game last time we were both on the show, and we all forecasted Jared Allen playing in that game. We even took Jared Allen on the rebounds in that game, and then it came out literally 5 minutes after we got off air that Jared Allen was now questionable. Then he was downgraded to out, and now he's questionable with that same rib injury that randomly popped up and took him out of the game 5. They still got the win done, but he is now questionable for game 6 on the road here. Craig Porter Jr. out as he has been for the Orlando Magic. Gary Harris, not like he's been doing much anyway, but
I just want to point out, though, I gave out his under last game.
It did
scored
hit.
0. So I did not jinx Gary Harris into playing well. So
it's only
my
bigs.
jinxes are reserved to centers.
And Kyle Lowry.
And Harrison
Kyle Lowry. So Harrison Barnes, Kyle Lowry, and centers. That's it.
I was right about Gary Harris, though, so he's a friend of mine. Does not listen to the show.
Harris,
Gary Harris, not a listener of the podcast.
Yeah, not a screw Gary Harris for not listening to the show, actually. Honestly, truly. Now that we know. All right. Well, here we are. What's up, Luis? Here we are. And I feel like I understand. Where everybody's coming from. And I understand how easy it is to forget the plan. But we had a plan, and we followed through with the plan. All the home teams win until game 7. It's lining up for us. All the home teams win until game 7. That's how it gets done. Now, if you had Cleveland minus 4.5, like I did last game, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was 4.5, right? Was it 4.5?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Either way, it didn't cover. But Orlando, they were leading in the point, but Cleveland was able to do enough and get the win in the end. And then a meaningless 3-point shot at the end of the game got them to cover.
And killed the second half spread for Cleveland.
And the over, man. It went over, too. It was under before that. No, it wasn't. It was another one. But basically, it was really close. It was another one before that.
Points in the fourth quarter to send the game.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Really ridiculous. I had the under, and I lost that. That was my lock, and I lost that.
I had the Cavs team total under 103.5. They scored 104. So
yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, man. All right. However, it's so clear. There's a freaking fly in here. Can y'all hear that? It's really annoying.
I can't hear.
Nonetheless, here we are. We are back. -4.
I'm taking Orlando.
I'm taking Orlando. Yeah, I'm taking Orlando. Like, I'm not questioning this. Orlando's going to go in here. They're going to dominate. It's the home teams. Home teams have been playing very good. We don't trust either of these two teams on the road. You now have no Jared Allen on the road as well. Well, maybe. He may play. He may not play. I'm not going to make any assumption with Jared Allen because he just popped up on the injury report last time we was talking about this one. But either way, potentially compromised or no Jared Allen. You got Orlando, whose role players play so much better at home than on the road. I mean, it just kind of seems like a no-brainer here. I think Orlando's going to get out early. I think they're not going to look back, and this is going to be something of a little bit of a ugly game. So I'm going Orlando here, laying the 4.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't know if Orlando should be encouraged or discouraged by losing game 5. Because on one hand, they had a shot to win it. Jared Allen wasn't playing. You can argue as the road team, you kind of have to steal that game. At the same point, the home teams have been smacking the crap out of the road teams in every game of the series. And then you were in there. You hung in there in a building that you were struggling in for the first 2 games. And it does feel like momentum, even though Cleveland was able to win that last game. Momentum has kind of swung in favor of Orlando over the last 3 games.
Absolutely. And I mean, just think about it. You went on the road and you arguably could have won. Now you're back home and you're like, hey, man, if we just protect home court, we feel really, really good about our chances on the road here.
And you smack Cleveland in those 2 home games. So a part of me is wondering if the Cavs treat this game like the way the Pacers did game 5, where you think in the back of your mind, it would be nice to win this road game, but in reality, we can just go home and win the next game. And that's what happened with Indiana. So I am wondering if Cleveland gets off to a slow start, are they just going to mentally pack it in and just go, we got a home game in our back pocket. We're fine. We're straight. And they're just going to, wait it out. Maybe. I'm just concerned that Cleveland might not have the sense of urgency they need to actually win this game on the road because they're undefeated at home. And maybe if Jared Allen doesn't play in this game, maybe they might look back at potentially a future Game 7 going, well, Jared Allen back in the lineup. We're 3-0 at home. Let's just take care of business. I like Orlando, though. I think Orlando's a team that's starting to figure it out against this Cleveland defense. I do think that Franz has played a lot better. I know that Evan Mobley punted him at the rim to win that Game 5, but the point is he has been playing a lot better, and I do think you're looking at a spot where I think Orlando just is going to bring a certain level of intensity that I question Cleveland matching, especially based on how the home teams have dominated the series. So pre-series, I had Orlando in 7. I went for the Suns Mavericks approach of the home team wins every game and then one team no-shows the home game at Game 7. So we'll see what happens there, but the script is still on pace. So give me Orlando -4.
So looking at closeout games, the Pelicans were able to close out. I mean, the Thunder were able to close out the Pelicans in Game 4 for a sweep. The Timberwolves were able to close out the Suns in Game 4 for a sweep. The Pelicans didn't close out the first game against the Bucks. They ended up having to go back home. The Knicks didn't close out the first game against the 76ers and went to OT. They had to go on the road to get it done. And then the Nuggets did not close out on the road against the Lakers. They had to go home and get it done as well. Yeah. Orlando -4. I don't think this Cleveland team is going to get it done on the road here. Player props. Total's at 200.5. Player props. Doesn't matter.
The total's pissing me off because the last couple games have been overs, but you wonder how the hell these games have found a way to go over. Every game's been trending under with like 3 minutes to go. And the question is, are you going to get screwed or not in the last couple of minutes? It's really how it's been going. So 200 sounds about right. I think I'd rather take Cleveland team total under, to be honest. The home teams have just been very solid offensively. I'd rather pick Cleveland to potentially no-show another road game if I had to pick. So I'd lean to Cleveland team total under. I'm going to lean under in the game anyway, but yeah, it's been a really frustrating series recently, especially if you've had unders for the full games. So maybe if you want the first half, maybe you want something else, but I'll lean Cleveland team total under anyway. I just think that this team on the road might struggle offensively again, and we might see them pack it in and get ready for Game 7 at home.
99-89 final score. Orlando.
Okay.
99-89. All right. Player props.
Do we have Gary Harris lines?
No.
I saw he was questionable. I'll just take.
There is. Well, there is. They actually do have him at 5.5 -145.
Sure, he had 0 last game. Run it back.
Franz Wagner over 19.5 -105.
He's been good.
Back at home too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hit no jump shots, but he'll definitely drive to the basket, get inside the lane. Potentially Jared Allen, maybe no Jared Allen. We'll see, but that makes me feel better about Wagner.
I like Mobley double-double, obviously, if Allen doesn't play.
I played it last time too.
It was -105 last night, but he had 14 and 13 with Allen not playing. So
that's +110 right now too.
Yeah. So I'll wait and see if Allen's going to play or not, but keep that in mind. Mobley is going to be a solid pivot if Allen's ruled out.
This
anybody else
really
you like?
Me off. I'm sorry, this fly is really pissing me off.
It's fine.
Jesus Christ. All right. Let's see here. I wish I had a bug zapper. I would just zip right there. All right. What else we got?
I gave it out last game, but I'll go back to Jalen Suggs under 1.5 turnovers. He randomly had 7 in the last home game. I'm not sure where the hell that came from, but he's had less than 2 turnovers in basically every other game in the month of April onward. So was that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the last 12 games. He's had less than 2 turnovers. And you can find under 1.5 turnovers at around minus, and it's around even money. So, sure, 11 to 12, and it's even money. I'll take the under.
Guess what, Scott?
What?
We cashed Paolo Banchero over 4.5 turnovers last game.
Nice.
We did. Let's see what it's at today.
Still at 4.5. I think it's actually plus money.
Is it?
I think it is. Let me just quickly check. It's not going to be like a massive amount of plus money, but It is actually it's around minus 102. So it's
He didn't hit
basically
it.
close to
He didn't hit it in the home games though.
just throwing it out there. It is around minus
Maybe we
102.
need to go. Maybe we need to tap in on the under. He didn't hit it in the home games. I mean, he had 4 in one, but like he still didn't hit it.
That still counts.
Minus 172.
4-3 doesn't matter.
I mean,
That's
the
an under.
logic was that they're on the road, and they were gonna crash down on him a lot. It'd be a lot tougher on him.
It's up to you.
I wonder what is Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland doing on the road?
You mean for turnovers or for points?
I mean, just anything.
Oh, I know Garland's had
Those road games were pretty tough.
They were.
Garland finally, I bet Garland last time too. Somebody said it in the chat, and when I was putting bets in, I was thinking about what somebody said. I was like, oh wow, Garland has been asked the entire time. He is due for a good one. I think I'm getting back on the fade Garland train. What's his points prop at?
It's plus money. You can get 16.5. The under is plus 102. He's gone under in 6 of the last 7.
One. The last game. It's the only one he went over.
Even the end of the regular season, he's gone under in 6 of the last 7.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be an ugly game. I guess I gotta fade Garland. 16.5 was a little lower than I was expecting, but he's been under, and I really, really think defensively they're gonna be on it today. Yeah, I'll take Garland. Plus 102, under 16.5.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else you want?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I'm good. All right. Before we get to the next game of the slate, got to talk to you about NYRA bets. Bet the run for the roses with NYRA bets. Score big on the Kentucky Derby with a double dose of rewards. Sign up today and get a $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus. Wow. $200 deposit bonus with promo code NBA. No, I'm sorry, not NBA. I'm already in the wrong. How am I combining these reads? It's SGPN25. That's it. It's right there. SGPN25. That is going to be the code. It's not NBA SGPN. That's for Underdog. SGPN25. And you can get a $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit bonus. Plus, you can bet the Kentucky Oaks Day with a $30 bonus. Opt in and bet at least $150 on each Belmont at the Big A and the Churchwood Downs. $30. Win or lose. Win or lose, $30, free $30. And they're giving you an extra $50 for the Derby 150. Bet $250 on each Belmont at the Big A and Churchwood Downs for a $50 bonus. Win or lose. So visit nyrabets.com to opt in. If you like the ponies, this is where you need to go. They're going to give you a whole bunch of deposit bonuses.
Have you decided on a horse yet?
On who I'm gonna take? No, I haven't. I really haven't. I'm about to, do some research with the Sports Gambling Podcast pod. They just dropped their Kentucky Derby preview, so I'm gonna go listen to that and take some from that, take some from what I got, and we're gonna craft a very, very nice bet here for the Kentucky Derby, and then I'm gonna go put on a hat and I'm gonna watch it in front of my TV. So NYRA Bets has everything you need to bet the fastest 2 minutes in sports with confidence for expert picks, betting insights, promotions, and more. Visit nyrabets.com. Make sure that you claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus with nyrabets.com/SGPN25. That's that code, SGPN25.
I don't even know which horses are racing, by the way. That's how far behind I am in my research.
Does Bob Baffert got a horse in the race? I'm taking that one.
That's a good question. I don't know if he's banned from the track or not. I lose track of which ones he's allowed to participate in or not.
If he got one, I'm taking them for sure. That's probably the favorite. Not, to be honest, whoever he got is probably the favorite. All right, here we go. Los Angeles Clippers on the road going to play the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks are open up at 7.5, and now they're laying 8. 208 is the total. Injury report here, and we have Terrence Mann, who was questionable with a leg injury. Kawhi is out. Tim Hardaway Jr. is out for the Mavericks. Pretty much all that really matters. So the Mavericks are up 3-2. They have a chance to close out here at home. They're laying 8.
Do you think the Clippers are cooked? Let's start there. Forget about the actual spread. Do you think they have an actual shot to win this game? Or do you think they're just done?
No, I think they have a shot.
Okay.
I think they have a shot. It feels like that these games are relatively either close or one side or the other just kind of pulls away from another. But it's like these games are close and they both have wins on the road. They both have wins at home. Like I think that this is honestly just too many points for me. Like in this series that has been closely contested, and even the games that, last game, the 123-93, that was really the pull away blowout game. And I understand why everybody would go lay 8 automatically because they just smacked them at home. But all the other games were relatively close. Maybe except game 1, but like game 2 finished with 3. Game 3 finished, 11? But that was a close game majority throughout. The Clippers got out to a hell of a lead. Then Dallas made it interesting in game 4 in Dallas. Like, I don't know,
I think
man.
that's the problem, though. I think the problem that people are starting to run into for kind of expecting the Clippers to lose handily in this game is that the Mavericks have dominated basically the last 6.5 quarters of the series for the most part. So people are wondering if the Clippers, Kawhi's officially ruled out for this game, by the way. I think they're just expecting the Clippers to roll over and die because we are starting to see, either from body language or just based on recent performance, it seems like the Clippers are unraveling. Now, I'm not saying that might officially be the case in this game, but Harden went back to being terrible in the playoffs. I don't know what the hell Westbrook's doing in the series. He's been atrocious. Kawhi's injured. If Luka finally had a monster game, it does feel like a lot of different elements of the series are starting to swing heavily in Dallas's favor. That's why they're a massive favorite in the game. It's why they're a massive favorite in the series. I'm not saying it's officially going to play out that way, but I do think there's a common, I'd say, consensus amongst NBA fans now that the series is over because the Clippers are starting to basically implode. That's kind of the general theme at this point. So, contrarians would be on the Clippers in this game.
I think that the Clippers are going to fold. I think Dallas is going to win the series. Dallas would win the series in 6, like I said, if they win tonight. I just think it's going to be a close game. I just think this one is going to be a close game. And Dallas may win. Are they going to cover 8? I don't think so, because I don't think the Clippers are going away. I just think that Dallas is the better team. And this is probably where my buzzer beater comes in, because I still have 25-1 on a buzzer beater in this series. I think this is where my buzzer beater comes in. Give me the Clippers +8.
I feel like it's such a public play to take Dallas, but I am really concerned about the Clippers rolling over if they fall behind early. With Harden, with Lou, and with Paul George, we saw Harden and Paul George no-show that last game. The point is, based on their playoff history, I have more reason to doubt Paul George and James Harden than to trust Paul George and James Harden in a spot like this. And I just think Dallas has kind of figured it out. Initially in the series, I thought Dallas would smack them. I had Dallas in 5. That didn't happen. But I did give out Dallas -1.5 games on the Mothership Show for the actual series prediction and plus money. I'm still standing by it. I just feel like the Clippers, if they fall behind early, are they likely to, I'd say, come back and show some toughness, or are they likely to roll over? Probably B, if I had to guess. So give me another bad James Harden, Paul George game, and I think Dallas takes care of business. But Kyrie's been great. We saw Luka have a great game last time out. Even Kleber's been good recently. So it just feels like everything is starting to mesh well for Dallas the way that I thought it would when the series started. And it seems like the Clippers peaked way too early in the series because they are having some really, really hard times of either A, scoring, or B, getting stops right now. I don't know where the Clippers go. That might work. Febreze might work on that. I don't know. You might end up seeing the, James Harden and Paul George struggle to actually get great shots, so they might just struggle in terms of the lack of clutch gene that we've seen for most of their careers. I don't know what the Clippers' plan B is. Like, I don't know what they have. The bench is kind of falling apart. I don't really think that Ty Lue's made many adjustments in this series. It just seems to me that like the Mavericks have figured it out. That's kind of where I'm at. I think the Mavericks defensively especially have kind of solved the Clippers offense, and that's kind of why I'm leaning Dallas. I think Dallas wins this game by like 15, if I had to guess.
All right.
So,
well, you're on Dallas. I'm on the Clippers. And I think I agree with you. I think we disagree on the amount of points it's going to take to win the game. But I do think that the Dallas wraps this up tonight. So I'm not going I'm not going against my Dallas and -1.5 pick. I just think that it's just a little bit closer. Like this just screams buzzer beater. And honestly, I'm trying to green up and hit my buzzer beater prop too, because I still haven't hit that. So I'm really, really hoping this is the buzzer beater game. And we could just end the series with Luka at home.
do you want to pick the player?
Oh, Luka. It's Luka.
Okay.
Wait,
I wasn't sure if you go with Kyrie or not. Wasn't sure.
No, I mean, I would. I mean, it's gonna be Luka or Kyrie, but like, I'm going Luka. Luka is my pick.
But just to be clear, you are picking the series to not go 7.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So, matter of fact, let's just go ahead and get that on the record with some numbers, because it cashed in the Denver series when I took the Lakers plus 7.5 and Denver on the money line in the closeout game. So let's do it again here. Clippers plus 8, Dallas money line plus 227.
Okay.
All right.
Solid. I was going to ask you about
Yeah.
Dallas 1 to 10, but that's definitely a better price. So 1 to 10 is going to be somewhere in the 100s probably.
I would play 1 to 10 too, though. Like if you don't want to do it my way and it's a little bit too much variance, and plus, yeah, I would do 1.
You also get a push on 8, so you get a straight bet on 8. So
yeah. Let me see. Dang, that's the same game parlay section. That's why I couldn't find it. Win margin.
I'm gonna guess it's like plus 180. If I had to guess, Dallas 1 to 10.
There we go. Win margin. It is plus 175.
I'm very close on that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so like it's plus 175. I'm not tripping. Like Dallas 1 to 10 plus 175. Dallas money line. Clippers plus 8 plus 227. I think you can't go wrong with either. I think that's how this ends tonight. Close game. Dallas gets the win.
All right.
208.5 is the total.
I kind of want Clippers team total under in this game. It's kind of the same idea as the Cavs game, but the Clippers offensively have been horrible. They've scored less than 94 points in 3 of the last 4 games. Now, the one time they went over, they went massively over because Harden and Paul George combined for 60. I forgot what the hell they combined for.
I think they had 33 each.
Yeah, they combined
for
like
60,
think they had
33
points.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my point. It's the one time they actually did well offensively recently. Both star players went nuts. They've been terrible offensively recently. So I'm going to lean under, but I think it's mostly Clippers team total under. A couple ways to get there. Maybe they shoot poorly again. Maybe get another rock fight like we saw in the first couple games. Or maybe the Clippers quit. A couple ways to get there. But I'll go with Clippers team total under in this one. Game might go over because Dallas might have a monster offensive game. I'm going to ignore that, though. Just give me the Clippers to struggle.
All right. Before we get into total player props and finish out this game, just got to talk to you really quick about Underdog Fantasy. And NBA playoffs are here, and Underdog wants to make it a lot more interesting, where you can play a fantasy pick'em, suck higher or lower player stats like points, rebounds, and assists. All of that. You could do basketball, golf, NHL, MMA. You could add all of that and win up to 100 times your money. And it's a ton of fun doing Underdog entries. We're going to do an Underdog entry before we end the show here. Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and Canada. And they just launched their Champions Player versus Player format in Florida. So make sure all the Floridians tap in with Underdog. NBA SGPN, that is NBA SGPN, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code NBA SGPN. All right. Total sitting here at 208.5 player props. Anything else for the end of this game, Scott?
I already had Clippers team total under, which is what I just said. But where do you stand on this one?
I'm on the under. I'm just going to take the full game under. Full game under 208.5. I just think that this is a more defense. These games have been shredding more under than over, but last game the Clippers couldn't stop anything, and the Mavs scored 123 and pulled that game over. Game before that, you had Paul George and James Harden, as you said, both had 30 plus points. I don't think that's going to deal again. I don't think that's going to work again. I think that this is a lower scoring game, something similar. I think both of these games are low scoring. So give me under 208 for the Clippers and Dallas match. My look on the first game. All right.
Any player props? I'll fade
Did get
James Harden
Luka.
again. But I'm also picking the Clippers to maybe roll over. So you can get James Harden under 28.5 points and assists at -120. Went 2 of 12 from the floor last game. He was very, very good for the first 4 games in the series. But we all knew it was coming. At some point, we knew Harden was going to regress, and we've seen him, especially late in series in the past couple of years. He's been really, really bad late in series. And in the last couple of game sixes, he has not been good. I believe he's had less than 23 or 24 points and assists in 3 of his last 4 game sixes. He has just objectively not been good later in series, and I think that he's going to struggle here. So give me Harden to struggle once again. Under 28.5 points and assists at -120 for Harden.
I will go over on Paul George.
Okay.
Because I think that Paul George is going to have a pretty good first half, maybe a decent third quarter, but the fourth quarter is ultimately where he's going to struggle. But he's still going to get over 24.5. Like I feel pretty confident in that. He's going to get over 24.5. He's probably going to be the only person on the Clippers that actually does something, and that's how they lose. He's going to try his hardest to keep them going. But in the last 5 minutes, playoff P makes a impromptu appearance for the Clippers, and they end up losing the game. So Paul George still on you for 3/4 of this game, at least 24.5. If he doesn't get it by 3/4, I'm probably going to give up on the bet by then.
Anything else you want?
What else we got? What else sounds?
Are we members
intriguing.
of the Maxi Kleber fan club now? Am I
No.
Benedicting my thoughts on Kleber because he randomly had 15 points? He randomly had 15 points last game.
You could be. Are you?
I might be. I mean, his points and assists are at 5.5. It's such a low number, -125. He just had 15 points and 1 assist last game. He has gone over this number in 5 of the last 6. So if you are picking Kleber to actually have even a mediocre offensive game, you can just pick him to have like 2 threes if you wanted to. Let me just quickly see what his threes are set at. It's at 1.5 plus 180. He's gone over in 2 of the last 4. He had 5 last game. Plus 180? That's not bad.
You would get behind it. I'd probably fade it and say that he's not going to do that again.
Okay, fair enough.
We've seen those folks that have had big games and then not come back the next game and not had the same game. And especially
I get it. I just think it might be matchup based for me. It's a spot where if he's going to be playing the small ball center and all the Clippers have are Plumlee and Zubac, and they're going to be switching every pick and roll, and Zubac's going to end up on Luka, there are so many wide open corner kickout opportunities for Maxey to just shoot the ball. It might just be a matchup thing, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from. It's just that Maxey, I just think that Kleber's been a solid overall performer recently in the series, at least from what I thought. I still am not sure if he should be in the league or not. But when you hit 5 threes in a playoff game, I'm going to give you some respect, and I have to at least bring it up.
I don't know, bro. I mean, you take it, but
I might be getting
I'm
too
good.
cute.
I'd rather just fade. I mean, he got those 7 attempts. Before that, the highest was 3, and those was in the first 2 games of the series. He got 1 3-point attempt after that in 2 straight games. I'm not interested. You could take it. I'm not interested. He had a good shooting night that night. He's in the NBA. I think it was just one night.
Can I interest you in Gafford under 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists at even money? He's gone under in 6 straight games.
No, because you're not good taking under with centers. So I would rather take that same handicap and apply it to the person that is getting minutes and is playing well, and that's Derek Lively. And take Derek Lively over 13.5 points and rebounds at -112. I would prefer that. He's been really good. Went over this line last game. Lonte had a really good breakdown. We played the last game. He went over. I think that he's going to go over again. So, I do think that Derek Lively over 13.5 is probably going to be my play today. And just say that Lively has another good game. And I'm even actually willing to go as far because I think it's an ugly game.
Double-double?
As to say, yeah, double-double. He's at home. I love taking the off the bench at home double-doubles, big games. Obi Toppin had a really big game. He had like 21 and 8 yesterday in that closeout game off the bench. So I like backing people off the bench in these closeout games at home. So maybe a plus 950 on the double for Derek Lively. I think that's a
I
pretty
see
all right
11. I
play.
see 11-1. If you
Yeah,
wanted
I'll
that,
take that.
but I mean, he's going to catch a bunch of lobs. He has been catching lobs every game. So
Just
to
need the
answer your
rebound.
question, though, Donald, I do like the under for Gafford PRA, but we all know centers will listen to the pod, so just keep that in mind.
They listen to you on the pod.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
I'm like bulletin board material for centers.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. That's it. That's it. We have 2 games. Yeah, nothing else. So, lock, dog, underdog. For my lock. 2 games on the slate. My lock. Orlando -4.
Okay.
They're gonna win. They're gonna win. This is a short number. I feel good about them covering it. And we get a game 7, which is the first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody else has made 7 yet. So first game 7 on the books. I wonder if Tony Brothers is working this game. It's a great question.
I know
Maybe
him
he's the new.
and
Maybe
Foster
he's the new
worked
extender.
yesterday. So
he worked yesterday too. Oh, okay.
I believe he worked yesterday in the Knicks game, I think.
No, it was Bill Kennedy and somebody else. It wasn't.
Bill Kennedy was the second guy. I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh,
Kennedy wasn't the crew chief. I think he was one of the other refs. I think it was Brothers. In fact, no, it was because Munaf and I talked about the ref report. So I know Brothers was the ref for the Knicks game yesterday.
So it was Brothers and Foster. I didn't realize that.
No, the NBA completely emptied out the bench trying to get a game 7, and they didn't get it.
Mark Davis, Josh Tillman, and Petraeus.
Yeah,
and then
for the Clippers game, by the way, it's Goble, Ford, and Wright. So no, we don't have any. Then again, apparently Scott Foster's a fraud, so I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, no, he is a fraud. Pretty much, he is a fraud. All right, lock Orlando -4 for my dog. Yeah, let's play it. It worked in the Laker game. Let's just run it back. Clippers +8, Dallas money line +227.
All right. So for my lock, I kind of wanted to take Orlando too. I think I'm going to do it. Yeah. Give me Orlando -4. I said going to the series, I had it going 7. So I'm not going to suddenly change my opinion when I've gotten everything I needed in the series. The home teams won every game. I expect a similar story here. I'm expecting Cleveland to maybe pull in Indiana and to just realize they have a home game in their back pocket. And if it goes poorly on the road, they might just pack it in. We saw Indiana do that. They ended up winning game 6 comfortably at home. Cleveland might do the same thing. But Orlando, I do think, has gotten a lot of momentum in the series. They won the last 2 home games in blowout fashion. They almost stole the road game in game 5. There's a lot to like about Orlando for this matchup, at least based on how the series has progressed. So give me Orlando -4 as well. I think they get the job done. For my dog, I thought about taking an alt player prop, but I want to see if I can actually find a good number on it. Let me just quickly see if I can find a good price. I mean, it's a massive drop if I was going to actually take it, but the question is, how much of a James Harden disaster class am I expecting for this game? Because I can take his points and assists under 25.5 at +148. The question is, do I want it? Or do I go Kleber for threes, which is a hot take? You know what? Nah. Give me the full James Harden disaster class. Give me James Harden lower or under 25.5 points and assists at +148. So it's an alt line on that one. But Harden went 2 of 12 from the floor last game, 7 points, 7 assists. You know what? I'll dare Harden to show up in a game 6 for once. Give me Harden under 25.5 points and assists at +148.
All right. So I went ahead and took the liberty of adding James Harden lower, 28.5 points and assists to our underdog card.
If you co-sign it. I mean, you like Paul George anyway, so I feel
Yep,
like
I also added Paul George higher, 24.5.
Yeah.
Because I do think that, I think that one is going to be bad, the other is going to be good. I just hope that we're right, whereas Harden is bad and George is good. One last play. I don't want to do
Doing
Harris
Gary
because
Harris
no,
again?
because I feel like he's gonna because I feel like it's gonna void out. I mean, I guess if it voids, it really doesn't. It just drops our payout.
But
Um,
well, I'm trying
we
to
do have
think of
Jalen
who we
Suggs lower 1.5 turnovers.
That's what I was thinking, or unless you wanted to go Garland. If you
Nah, we
wanted
can
the
go
lower
Suggs.
on
It's
Garland.
cool.
Okay,
I
that's fine.
think Orlando's gonna win, so let's take Suggs. All right, Jalen Suggs lower 1.5 turnovers. Wow, 2 lowers and higher. When's the last time we did that? All right, Jalen Suggs lower 1.5 turnovers. James Harden lower 28.5 points and assists, and Paul George higher 24.5 points. Put that in the underdog, and you can get a 6-to-1 payout. $100 get you $600. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN to get $100 deposit bonus on your first deposit, as long as you deposit $100, because it's up to 100%. So if you deposit $100, you're gonna get $100 bonus. If you deposit $50, you're gonna get a $50 bonus. So on
Yeah,
and
the
so
math
forth.
checks out. That sounds right.
All right, thank you.
Cool.
All right, Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No, hopefully we get a game 7. That's all I'm going to say. At some point, I still think the 2 best words in sports are game 7. It's been
Easily.
quiet. A little bit too quiet.
Game
for the NBA
5
first
as well.
round.
Game 5 is second best. Or no, it's pretty even because game 5s are pretty lit in WNBA. But yeah, agree.
I was going to say the second best phrase is open bar, but I like game 7. You could argue that open bar is actually above game 7, but the point is I do think that we kind of need a game 7 in the first round, and we haven't gotten any, and it's kind of annoying me.
Yeah, it's all right. We're due for one. We are due for one. Okay. Other than that, Scott, I have. Oh well, make sure everybody likes the video on the way out. Do that for sure. Make sure everybody is subscribed to the podcast, and not just on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast as well. I didn't say YouTube; I said the podcast. So make sure you're subscribed to the podcast as well, chat, for sure. Definitely respect my
So is
decision.
the Belt
in
to Ass
making
tour
sure.
canceled, or what's exactly the story? Are
Nah,
they
it's
going
still
on break
going.
for next season?
No, it's still going. It's still going. Belt to Ass Tour is still going. Why would we stop? There's no point in stopping. We didn't get knocked out of the playoffs. They did.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not
Let's
sure if
keep it
that means
going.
that, like, are they on break? Is there a reunion tour coming up next week? Are they going to China? Are they going to, like,
Nah, we just left them. We just left them off the rest of the legs of the tour. So now instead of going back to Milwaukee, we're going to Indiana. We're going to New York. We're probably going to Dallas. We're going to Denver. Like it's hitting everywhere else but Milwaukee at this point. But we're still on Belt to Ass Tour for sure. At least on this podcast. I wonder if Patrick Beverly subscribed to our podcast. I will ask him when I see him, for sure.
I doubt it.
And he will get nothing from me until he subscribes. All right. If anybody didn't ask, or if anybody cared, I agree. 100% agree. She could have just went ahead and subscribed real quick. Like, just subscribe real quick. Come on. It takes 2 seconds. Like, everybody's like, oh, it takes 2 seconds to subscribe. Like, and then plus, if you listen to his pod, you probably would have asked some better questions, if you're being honest, because he'd be talking a lot of shit. And you could bring that back up and throw it in his face. But you don't listen to the pod because you're not subscribed. But just subscribe. Like, come on. I would have subscribed in his face and unsubscribed as soon as I left the room. Like, come on now. All right. Other than that, I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending podcast. Just going to end it like this. We are out of here.